Last night, Aston Villa had a match against a team that I like to call Aston Villa's Achilles heel. I say that because of no matter what Aston Villa's form is, no matter how well we are playing, somehow there are two teams, Crystal Palace and Manchester United. These are two teams that always have an edge over us. And this has built into a narrative that sometimes Aston Villa becomes a victim of. So I was extremely scared going into yesterday's match, in spite of our great form and in spite of it being a home match. Now, I also feel this way because if you look at the old statistics, Aston Villa in the last 33 years has only won thrice against Manchester United at home. And they have a great away form. We had a great home form. And when these two clashed, finally, Aston Villa emerged as a winner. We won against Manchester United 2-1, and this still keeps us at the third position in the EPL table, which is great going into the Christmas. And also, this win came because of double by Rogers. This is not just double in a match, but like back to back in two matches, he scored two goals, and that led us to this glorious victory that has made every Aston Villa fan so happy. So I'm going to get into my fangirls match report, which I do in my own style with my own very special four segments. So let's begin. So my first segment is called I Screamed When. The moment in which I screamed was not a happy one. It was Morgan Rogers had just scored at the 45th minute, the first goal. We were leading, and just when we felt settled that we're going into halftime with this lead, in the extra time given to us before halftime, Matty Cash made a terrible pass, a terrible mistake, and that led to Cunha scoring and equalizing the score. And I remember I was so busy, like I took it for granted that it's so close to halftime. We've already scored, we were celebrating. I just finished dinner, so I was having moong dal halwa, and I was so immersed in my halwa that I didn't even notice when that goal happened. And when I saw the recap of it, I was like, oh my god, I was so busy eating the halwa and this goal happened. So yeah, that's where I screamed at. It was I was feeling terrible, but of course not as terrible as Matty Cash would have felt. I also wonder that when you go in halftime, now the coach is supposed to talk to the whole team. What is the mood when you've made a mistake so close to halftime? Like, would you be accosted for it? Like, what does great leadership look like? Because I believe that great leadership at that kind of moment should all be about boosting morale and like saying all positive things. So I really wonder what happens in the dressing room. But I also know that Matty Cash is so adorable. Like after the match got over, I like to like stalk every player, and I read what everybody's commenting on each other's posts. And I saw that on Morgan Rogers' celebratory post after he scored two goals, Matty Cash has written that thanks, bro, and like with a smiley, because he knows that if Morgan Rogers had not scored that second goal, Matty Cash would have regretted this mistake even more. My second segment is called I had to Google this because I'm a new football fan. With every match, I'm learning new things, Googling stats, and growing as a football fan. So today I'm going to talk about something that I Googled the last match only, which was that this 10 consecutive wins. When was the last time Aston Villa performed this well? It was in 1914, which is 111 years ago. So this is a performance of a lifetime. But the other thing that I Googled after this match was that a lot of people online, fans of other clubs, are calling this a purple patch for Aston Villa. And they feel that this is, we're running on a fluke, this is something that is extraordinary, and eventually everything is going to balance out. And this Aston Villa's performance is just a spurt in a longer season, and eventually big clubs will come back to the positions that they deserve. And that really angered me. So I wanted to research that, is it really a purple patch? Is it something that is out of the ordinary that Aston Villa is doing right now? And you'd be surprised that people who followed Aston Villa would know this, but we've suddenly come in everybody's eyes after the Arsenal win, where people are calling us title contenders, Leicester 2.0, and all of that. But if you have followed Aston Villa ever since Unai Emery is in this club, you would realize that this is not a performance that was out of nowhere. It was built over years. The first time he came into this club, he took it over from Gerrard. We were almost getting relegated, and he took the club to the seventh position, qualifying for Conference League. And then after that, the next year we qualified for Champions League. And the third season with him, we qualified for Europa. And now this season, we are being called title contenders. Even if I don't believe in that, this has been consistent performance over 4 seasons. And we are not playing with wingers in our team. We don't have a left winger and a right winger. McGinn and Rogers are playing out of position to be those players for our team. We have a striker who's been underperforming for 2 consecutive seasons right now, which is Watkins, and yet our other players are just coming up and making sure that the team never lags. So I feel that this is a team that stands by each other. You may not notice, but have been consistently doing well. I have a crazy stat to share with you. I mean, it was surprising for me as well, which is that ever since Unai Emery came into this club, which was 22-23 season, if you tally the points since then till now, Aston Villa stands at the fourth position in EPL with only Man City, Liverpool, and Arsenal being ahead of us. So I hope that proves that this is not like a random fluke that Aston Villa is riding on. Yeah, so that's what I googled. Another, because we're talking about googling things, another random fact which has got nothing to do with gameplay that I found out was that yesterday McGinn walked in with a mascot. He not really walked in because he had to carry the little baby. And I found out it was Ozzy Osbourne's grandchild, which is our very famous Aston Villa supporter, Big Villain. We have a mural of him at Villa Park. In fact, his funeral procession ended at Villa Park, where all the fans got together and bid farewell to a rock legend. And yeah, that was what I used the internet for and grew my knowledge as a football fan. My third segment is called This Gave Me Hope. Now, this is not a footballing moment. It is the Instagram stalker in me that is very hopeful. This is because like I said, that I keep checking posts of every football player and then what is everybody commenting on each other's post. And what I see in this Aston Villa team is that this amazing camaraderie that they have with each other. They're so supportive. It is every comment on each other's post is so full of love. There's this playful energy. There's like I said, Matty Cash was like, so thank you, bro, because Rogers' goal saved him, saved his dignity after that mistake. Other than that, they're very encouraging towards each other. They're always like hyping each other up. We know Unana as this perfect hype man. Like, he's not just that on Instagram, he's that on the field also. If you know that he has this famous celebration after a match in which he interacts with the fans, he will run towards them and the fans will go, oh, and then he raises his hand and everybody like shouts at the top of their voice, whoa. So yeah, that's his famous celebration. And after the Arsenal match, he made sure the whole team does it together, and it was so joyous to look at that. And after yesterday's match, Rogers, who's known to be a bit of an introvert, he made him do it not just once, twice, thrice. He kept pulling him back to do that roaring celebration with him after the match. Even when he was scoring, Onana's favorite celebration is to like wear a crown on his head, and he did it to Rogers. Like, both the times he scored, he took the crown off his head and kept giving it to Rogers. All these little things, oh my god, they make the fan in me so happy. In fact, the cutest of them all is Bizot, because he's not been playing. I mean, he played when Martinez had an injury, but he's so out there. He's the only one who comments on everybody's post. Like, he's such a cutie pie, always making hearts and celebrating. In fact, where there was a time when a lot of people were not commenting on Martinez's post when this whole transfer window fiasco was going on, but he was still there commenting. He has a great relationship with Martinez when they should otherwise be not very friendly, playing for the same position. And in the middle of all of this, I also have to say that the players who've left Aston Villa, they also, I feel like, still feel the contagious energy of this camaraderie, because Jacob Ramsey, who's in Newcastle right now, is always commenting on their posts after a victory. We all know that Rashford still watches most of Aston Villa's matches because he feels that Aston Villa was a good launching pad for him, and he found a good team, good friendships here. So yeah, all of this beautiful camaraderie and friendship makes me very hopeful. My fourth segment is called My Therapist is Going to Hear About This. Now, I know I had decided this segment because Aston Villa was going through a very tough time in the initial part of the season, and I was like, there will always be something to say in this segment. But with a lot of pride and ego, I must say that I have not had a lot of things to share in this segment because it's all good things for Aston Villa. The only thing, the overthinker in me or the pessimist in me is thinking that why am I feeling so good? Is like a defeat waiting for us, and if the things can't go, things can't be this good all the time for a football fan of a club. So yeah, I'm a bit scared and very intimidated by our next fixture. And this is not all in my head. You know, we are playing Chelsea and we're playing away next week, and it is one of the toughest matches that we're going to play. In fact, before December ends, we're again meeting Arsenal, so we have two very tough fixtures ahead of us. Even a draw at this point of time is something that will make Aston Villa fans happy. So that's what we're looking forward to. I have to also share a personal thing that the next match, which is Chelsea versus Aston Villa, is a home derby for me because my husband is a big time Chelsea fan and I'm an Aston Villa fan. And the rule in our house is that he cannot celebrate even if Chelsea is winning, but I get to celebrate because I'm a more passionate person. So yeah, there is some home drama awaiting me and a great match for Aston Villa. Up the Villa. I hope we continue our form.